Thank you so much for watching. Geez, we're having fun tonight. We are wetting an electric fence, and I tell you what, it feels good because I want to talk here about Australia, yet again, lowering its standards about some of the people that are coming into the country. And by that I mean, on Tuesday of last week, the Assistant Immigration Minister, Matt Thistlethwaite, ordered the minimum test mark for someone to have functional English to be lowered for some exams for prospective migrants. This is something that is the first time it's happened in about 10 years. It's dumb idea. Let's see if the following agree with me. Lee Hanson, of course, Pauline's daughter, and got a great future leading certainly the people in Tasmania, and of course One Nation. Overall, the wonderful Daniel Wild, who's always a great chat from the IPA. Lad and lady, lovely to see you. Lee, let's start with you. Why on any earth would they want to lower the bar to make sure that any good, family-loving, highly skilled human being comes here but isn't able to speak to the people when they get here?
Well, Paul, let's name it for what it is. It is vote harvesting, pure and simple, and there is no other way. This is just, it has frustrated so many Australians to hear about this. Why would you lower the English proficiency in visa holders other than purely to vote harvest? Now, you need to think about this. If I understand the figures right, and by lowering the scores, this means that to pass, it's only a 21 to 26% average pass rate. Yep. Now, when I went to school and university, that 21 to 26% score was not a pass. It was a fail, pure and simple. You've also then got to think about, well, what's the impact of this decision? How is this going to make an impact on here in Australia? Now, if you move to this country, we are an English-speaking nation. If you do not speak English, what does this mean? It means you will struggle to assimilate into our culture, and you will stick within your communities, and you will not integrate it. Correct. In addition to that, it's going to put pressure onto our schooling system and education system as well. Now, I've worked at a university. You think about people, work visa holders, if they can't speak English and they're teaching our students, whether it be primary, secondary or university sector, the education outcome of our kids as well is going to struggle. We've seen this. We know we have issues with our NAPLAN results and our literacy results in Australia as well. So there will be knock-on impacts from this, and it simply should not be happening. I
agree completely. And again, look, I know somebody's going to write me an email saying, 75 years ago, my parents came out here, couldn't speak. The world was very different, and certainly the attitudes of many people that have come over a lot of different periods of time are very different as well. But Daniel, again, I think what Lee's saying, and she's saying the quiet part out loud, and as I said, that electric thing, it's bang, 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 who cares, which is that, of course, we saw at the last election, right? If you have any conversation about the fact that 1 million people have come into the country at a time when it's harder than ever to find a rental property, you can spend hours in the back of an ambulance, because that's why people like myself, people like yourself, people like Lee, have talked about the numbers coming in. That was deconstructed by the Labor Party and their mates in the media as, that was an ooga booga on every single person who's ever come to the country. And in some areas became quite successful. I mean, it was sort of said back to people when they were having discussions in and around, say, the Parramatta electorate. So the reality is that just like spending, and I'm going to get to this in a second here, it feels like one of these horses bolted moments. But bugger that, I'm still going to point out that in this case, the horse and the tests it is being put through is lowering the standard. Trying to murder the metaphor here. And imagine Mr. Ed is not coming to Australia.
Well, exactly right, Paul. And look, I think Lee is spot on, and I've just got a couple of points to make. I mean, the lowering of the English standards comes at a time when, sort of what you're alluding to there, we are being put through as a nation the biggest social experiment that we've ever seen with this mass migration, the sheer volume of the numbers. But don't forget, that's underpinned by a divisive ideology of multiculturalism. Which presupposes that we don't have one shared culture as a nation, but there are many different cultures that will need to coexist. Now, I'm perfectly fine with having different ethnicities and different religious faiths existing in Australia, but it's got to take place within our shared common culture and set of values. Correct. And English is fundamental to that for all of the reasons that Lee pointed out. But one additional reason, which is that language is also a vehicle for ideas. If you don't understand English or you don't understand the language of the country that you're living in, you're going to struggle to understand the ideas that underpin that nation as well. So, you know, this is just another example of how, as a nation, we're becoming balkanised, we're becoming separated from one another. This is a government that tried to separate us by race with the voice to Parliament, and now it appears they're doubling down on this by watering down something that should be uniting us, which is a shared language.